Hello, 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 hello. I'm Lynn Browder, and I have a son, Owen, who is 13 and has autism. We paint together, working on his fine motor skills. He helps me paint the backgrounds of our paintings, and then I paint the rest. So I'm going to make this one a little wild, I think. I have in previous paintings, lifetimes, different times. I don't know what the right word is. I have painted like camo, kind of looks to things. I've painted different animal prints like cheetah, leopardish, something or others, depending on like the color scheme. But I thought that I would make kind of a vase, bowl, whatever you want to call this, into a little leopardy print, cheetah. I don't know my animals. I should be a little more awake when I'm painting. And have flowers coming out from it. So we're going to let this dry for half a second, because if you've watched before, you know that's not something I'm good at waiting around and doing, is waiting for things to dry. But here I'm going to try. So I'm making myself laugh because I'm truly very sleepy. I think my hair's hitting the camera. Oh well. I'm using two different greens, but you can hardly tell. But most likely a lot of this will be covered up anyways. I just kind of give myself some general ideas of where I'm heading. And then we go from there. A lot of times I start over here when I'm doing flowers, but I've been trying to make myself kind of break out of my main molds and how I do everything, particularly in the same fashion. I was laughing at myself prior to starting this because I kept saying I was in a slurpy derpy mood. Whatever that means, I have no clue, but that's what I was in, slurpy derpy. Slurpy, so I'm very sleepy. But, you know, sometimes we just have to go with the flow. Owen is sick. I took him to the doctor. All my days are blending together. Took him to the doctor yesterday because he woke up, and he woke up late, and that in itself usually is a little bit of a sign that something's going on. And by late, I mean 6:30. Because we're usually up around 5 o'clock. So he immediately told me that he was not feeling well, that he needed to go see his doctor, and he listed off her entire name, and then told me that he had a fever, a cough, and I forget if I wrote it down because I always forget, runny nose or snotty nose. And he diagnosed himself correctly. He had all of the things, a nose issue, and that. So he needed to go to the doctor. I was hoping and praying, and it ended up not being the flu or any of the things. It was his regular old sinus stuff that he gets usually once or twice a year, depending on the year and everything that's going on. So we have been home all day today, and usually today's Saturday. Yesterday was, you can probably figure it out. Sorry. Yesterday was Friday. I started saying that before I realized what I was saying. Anyways, yesterday we went to the doctor. Today, Saturday, is usually Grandma Day, and he goes and spends time with her. But with all of the things that went on, he obviously couldn't, because he just was not feeling well, and just, you don't want to go. I don't want to take him to his grandma's when he's technically, he has a fever, so there's always the two sides of the coin. Is he or is he not contagious because of the fever part, but he only has a sinus infection, so he doesn't have any restrictions, but he doesn't completely understand, even though he'll say it, how to like cover his mouth, like when he coughs, or coughing towards somebody, or sneezing. So I try not to take him to places that that he would get someone sick, or and he feels miserable. He spent a lot of time in his bed, so he doesn't need to go out, even though he wants to go out. And it's hard to decide those things, but I gotta do it. But so he is sad because he's not going to get to go to church tomorrow. But again, I can't take him to church knowing that he is still coughing, and plus he's had right at a fever of right around 99 something, and again, that's they I forget if it's 99.263 something. I forget what the number is. That it's technically not considered a fever. But still, again, I'm not going to, when he's feeling miserable, and he should be home with his mama. Even though many parts of the day he was running around and very energetic, but then again there was a lot of times where he was in bed and wanted nothing to do with getting up. But so anyways, my tiredness is shining through here. But that's sometimes, as I've stated, the lines never really matter because I end up filling so much of it in. So before I get too far down here, I'm going to attempt there's a cat that keeps going on my front porch, and I'm sure it talks to my cats inside. and it keeps triggering my alarm. So let's see how this goes when I do this. I'm gonna let this dry a little bit, and then we'll go back in and fill. Oh, that was gonna be close, people. Did you see? Did you see what happened? Got very close with. I have a problem. I put way too much paint on my paintbrush constantly. But that's just, again, the fact of life of what I do. Oops. I'm making a mess. So, anyways, so tomorrow he's very disappointed that he's not going to get to go to church. And then Monday he has off of school already. So he won't be missing school, but he was supposed to go to one of our church friends' houses, and he always says most likey, he puts an L in it, but he doesn't, because I always will tell him most likely we're not doing something. So he says most, and he says like, it's, I can't say it, but it's so cute the way he says it. Most likely, he doesn't say likely. I don't know. But he puts an L in it, so it's likey, like. It's almost like he makes it 3 syllables. I'll have to see if I can record him saying it, because he has a speech therapist, and I talk to her all the time about different words that he has trouble saying, like his mama, for one reason or another. If he just hasn't heard it correctly, or if he's stumbling over, like I have problems with S's. I truly have to concentrate when I'm saying things that have numerous S's in the words or the sentence, depending on what it is. It's very hard for me. And so I know kind of when I'm looking at certain words, I have to be cautious of how I'm saying it. I mean, people understand, but you know what I mean? It's just one of those things that I try to kind of pay more attention to how I'm saying something, or what it's coming out as. And so in a lot of ways, he's kind of like that with still learning how to say a lot of words. And again, sometimes I think when he says something, he is, again, I dropped it, but it almost was going to be a mess, people. It's almost going to be a mess, but we just keep going until we get it in there anyway. So when he does that, I've talked to his speech therapist, and it's like, I don't want to keep him from learning certain phrases and certain words, but yet I love some of the ways that he says things. And so it's like, I want him to learn how to say stuff correctly, but yet sometimes when he says things, I prefer his words. I love how he interprets it, or how he thinks through it, or. So it's hard sometimes for me to like give up on those, but I also don't want him to struggle through it, especially when he's learning so many new words and phrases and everything. I want him to be able to, really work through it. And he's got an excellent speech. He works with speech at school, and they do wonderful with him there, but he's got an excellent speech therapist. And we had one for several years, and then when she had her second baby, she didn't come back. And he loved her, talks about her still all the time. But the new one has definitely connected with him as well. And he's at an older, age now, so a lot of those things are coming in for him word wise. And so I think that's going to make a big difference for him as time moves forward. So we'll see, as it goes along here. But yeah, I know what the struggle is with learning words and learning letters and things like that. So I get stuck on phrases and lettering as well. I get fascinated by letters, and so it's hard for me to get past certain letters or the way something sounds. And so when I'm trying to say a word, if I get stuck on it, like the word milk, that is one wild word for me. It, like, anytime I say it, I actually have to kind of talk about it. I go back and forth on it, and talk about it a lot whenever I say it. And then, like, the word leaf with the F and the leaves, leaves. It's just, there's like the sounds. I love hearing sounds. And so when I'm listening to Owen, I listen to a lot of his wording and his sounds. And because I like to mimic and hear the sounds, a lot of times that's what I'm so drawn to his wording, his accent, his, the focus. Plus, honestly, I'm just so thrilled my dude talks, because, the doctors told me, I write about autism every day as well as do this while I'm painting. And I wrote about that today, that I had taken him to numerous specialists, and they told me that most likely he would not talk. And when we came home from that meeting, well, like I said, several of them, I told Owen that he could talk and he would be able to figure it out. All he had to do was move the stuff around in his brain, and he would be able to talk. And I told him that every day. Every day I said that he could talk. He just had to figure out where to put it in his brain. And he talks, and not only does he talk a lot. And he talks in sentences. He talks in full sentences, many languages, many different many, many, many different forms of language. And by that I mean like actual different languages. And I have no clue how many he speaks, because he can't say this is Spanish or this is this. And he'll go on to YouTube or different other apps and change the app to a different language, and have I'm distracted by my colors, sorry. But he'll go on a different app and have it translate into different languages. And so sometimes when he's watching something, he'll have it as one language, spoken language, translated into like the closed caption into a second language, and be thinking or speaking in a third language. It's wild. It's wild. And you can ask him questions and he doesn't always know how to respond. But then all of a sudden he'll be singing a song in this other language. So it truly is amazing to me what he does and how much he knows. I'm not quite sure that looks like animal print of any kind, but maybe. And it's these aren't as wild as I really wanted them to be. My colors, I truly need to get my colors under control. I've got them everywhere. So that was my goal today, but I was connected to the hip of Owen most of the day, and so I didn't get any of this done. And I can't even, I mean, I've been saying it for how long, so I can't blame him for me not getting this done at some point in the last but that was one of my goals today, and I did not accomplish it. But again, like I said, it's definitely not his fault at all. That's the mama. The mama did not. I have so many things that I'm working on. When you have too many things you're working on, you can't accomplish any of them, truly. So I'm trying to kind of backtrack and try. I've written a book, 365 Days of Autism, and it's I've been writing every day about autism for years, and so I compiled my writings into a book so that it was all together, and so that was 2017. So I have all of 2018 through 2025 now of all of my daily writings, and I post them every day, but I want to compile them into the next books. Just so, I'll have them, people want them. But, so if you want to look at it, you can go all the way back on my website and look at all of them separately, or you can get it on Amazon, 365 Days of Autism. So, but like I said, okay, I think I'm done making my flowers what they are. So, all right. I'm going to sign O for Owen, since he helps me with the backgrounds. And then L and B. There we go. All right. Thanks so much for watching and being a part of our day. Toodles, toodles.